The holidays are almost here. You can find all your party and holiday needs in one store. Where's the Party? Festive Thanksgiving decorations, Hanukkah candles, and beautiful balloon wreaths for Christmas. You name it, they'll make it. Party stuff for all ages and all themes. Tree trimming, wrapping paper, ribbons, bows, accessories, and more. Whether you need 1 or 100, they have it all. They'll even design and decorate your party for you. Where's the Party? Your party supply store, chock full of all your party and holiday needs. Where's the Party? 742 North Bedford Road, Bedford Hills, across from ShopRite. Where's the Party? Come in today, 666-2030, 666-2030.
1310 a.m. and cable channel 12. You're watching WVIP. I'm Lori Blanchard, filling in for Mike Sarnoff here, and we have our Friday staple in the studio, Mary Michele, here to give you your astrological predictions for the coming weeks, coming days, or coming months. Welcome back, Mary Michele.
Thanks, Lori.
Always a pleasure to have you here.
It's good to be here. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that we're coming up to the time of the winter solstice. And the winter solstice is one of the earlier pagan holidays that existed all over the world, in South America and Central America and Egypt and Ireland and all over Europe. Russia. And the reason being because it was the time that early man could see that it was the shortest day of the year. So one of the things that happened with, newer religions that came afterwards was they honored this idea. Because after all, the earth is something that we have to live with. It's something that is very important to all of us in the way that we connect to each other and communicate with each other. What's one of the first things you say to somebody on the phone? How's the weather down there? Everybody wants to know. It's a very easy way to start a conversation, to communicate. It's an important part of our existence. So anyway, the solstice on December 22nd will be the shortest day of the year. And the idea of the solstice is that symbolically it represents the time that the earth is at its lowest point. The earth is freezing. There's a little bit of a fear attached to the idea of things are dying. It's a very, very inward kind of time. It's like when people first go into hibernation. But inherent in that is that it is the beginning of new life, because, of course, after the winter solstice, directly the next day, the days start to grow longer. So the whole idea is that the light starts coming again, very much like at the summer solstice in July, when it's the beginning of the time of dying. The winter solstice is the time that it's the beginning of new birth. Although we usually have some, fear attached to the idea of having to die to do that. One of the things that I was interested in, too, that I just was looking at yesterday was for children, a present for children that has to do with crystals. And, crystals are formed underneath the earth. This relates very heavily to the sign of Saturn, to the sign of Capricorn, the planet Saturn. They say that Saturn rules crystals. Well, crystals, what are crystals? Crystals are light trapped in salt or water, or I'm not sure of all the physical chemical components that go into it. But I think it's interesting that these are the kind of connections that one makes with in astrological language or in the language of the arts in general, of realizing that light is something that's terribly important, and the beginning of light that happens on the winter solstice, you could say, has some correlation to the idea of a crystal. So, what were some of the other things that I was going to talk about today?
Well, before the show, you and I were talking about the whole Jupiter, the satellite, how they launched it into orbit around the planet of Jupiter. What's going on over there?
Right. Well, if you'll remember, a little while back, there was an asteroid that went into the planet Jupiter, too, that was kind of a little bit of a scary thing. No one knew exactly what that meant. One of the things that I've been reading about it recently is that, well, first of all, Jupiter entered the orb of the droid entered the orb of Jupiter Thanksgiving weekend. And I don't know if you all remember, but I was talking that weekend about the fact that there were 7 planets in the sign of Sagittarius. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So I don't know if the person that launched the droid 6.5 years ago had any idea that it was going to happen at exactly the time that there were 7 planets in Sagittarius, but it's what we call in astrology a synchronistic kind of phenomena, that the enlightenment about Jupiter should come at the time when there are 7 planets in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, also, Sagittarius, as you know probably, is the sign of travel, long-distance travel. It's about higher learning. What is the droid doing? It's traveling very far away, and it's going in and it's observing how the planet Jupiter works. And one of the things about Jupiter that I was reading recently, I can't remember, maybe in the New York Times Magazine section, they were talking about how Jupiter really has been our great protector, because they seem to feel that it might be more gaseous than solid. You know, on the Earth we have Earth underneath our feet. Well, more solid than on Jupiter, let's say. We're not exactly sure how solid it is, but anyway, what Jupiter does, being such a huge planet and having such a strong gravitational pull, is it will pull asteroids or comets or large bodies that might hit other planets in our solar system, the Sun, the Earth, Mercury, Venus, Mars, into its sphere, and it will like eat them, you know. So it really does protect us. Jupiter protects us, and in astrology we call Jupiter the great benevolent planet, and it is protecting us. So anyway, I have to believe that this exploration of Jupiter is going to give us many new ways of looking at our distant horizons and our future. And of course, that's what Jupiter in astrology in the sign of Sagittarius represents. So, you know, I think it's a very exciting time. What it all means, it may not happen in my lifetime, but it's certainly something to contemplate. And I think you out there, whoever's listening, I think the idea is to contemplate what it could possibly mean. What does Jupiter represent to you? He was the king of the gods. He was someone that was very fair. He was someone that would give people great wealth, but he would kind of make it a little difficult for them sometimes to learn how to use it, because this is one of the difficulties always with money or too much of anything. You tend to not know how to handle it. But he was someone, his symbols were the horse. He used the horse quite often. He would transform himself into a horse quite often. That correlates again back to this idea of the winter solstice in the Celtic tradition, the Druidic tradition, because they say that the 2 solstices are ruled by 2 different colored horses, a white horse and a dark horse. The dark horse, of course, being at Christmas time, at the winter solstice, and the light horse being in the summertime. And I think the idea of the horse is that, what does the horse do? It's very swift. It can move from here to there. It pulled Apollo's chariot across the heavens and made the sun rise every day. I'm interconnecting myths here. I'm going from Greek and Roman to Celtic and back and forth. And this is kind of things that I think we should all do with our imagination. It stimulates our imagination to realize that these connections resonate very strongly within us. And we all have these ideas. We all have things that we notice. That isn't it a coincidence that I was thinking about so-and-so and they called, or I was thinking about so-and-so and I had a smell that reminded me of them, or heard a piece of music.
It always seems like this time of year you seem to think of the people that you haven't thought of in a while, or maybe it always seems to me to be that time of the year when I think about someone that I haven't thought about in a while, and it's time to renew old friendships. And it also seems that in terms of the whole solar system, there's so much going on right now.
Right. Well, yeah. And I think these droids going off and looking at other planets, it's really giving us the possibility to stretch our imagination, which I think why the shows like Star Trek and Babylon 5 and all of them are so Interesting.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and an exciting show for you today. Boy, I had no idea there was so much going on out there. We'll be right back after these messages. We'll be taking your calls here in the VIP studio. You can call Mary Michele with your questions at 241-1310. Stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
In just one instance, disaster can strike your home, whether due to fire, flooding, or roof collapse. Any accident that necessitates an evacuation, major repair, or cleanup effort can leave your family on the street with no place to go and no one to turn to. Now introducing Personal Disaster Recovery Service. PDRS dispatches qualified personnel anytime, day or night, to assist with temporary lodging and a cash advance of up to $500. PDRS will dispatch a contractor to board and secure the damaged area to protect from unwanted intruders. They'll even secure kennel facilities for the family pets. If you travel for business, have elderly parents, or are a seasonal resident, when disaster strikes, Personal Disaster Recovery Service is your advocate on the scene until you personally take charge. So before disaster strikes, reserve your peace of mind today. Personal Disaster Recovery Service is there to help you with the same security and safety plan already in use by most major corporations. For peace of mind, call 1-800-435-7016. That's 1-800-HELP-016. And the first 10 callers to review and activate the PDRS plan will receive a free personal home fire extinguisher. Call 1-800-HELP-016 today and sleep soundly knowing that if disaster strikes, PDRS will be there to help. Dial 1-800-HELP-016 right now.
Updated forecast for this Friday.
A full head of hair. I really want a girlfriend who understands me.
An engagement ring.
New York Lottery asks, hey, New York, what do you really want for the holidays?
I'd pay off my mortgage.
What if you won $25,000?
I'd pay off your mortgage.
What do you want for the holidays?
I really want to go see my boyfriend.
What if you won $25,000?
Honey, I'm on my way.
What do you want for the holidays?
I want to go see my family in El Salvador.
What if you won $25,000?
Book my flight.
This year, give Holiday Grab Bag, the newest instant cash game from the New York Lottery. With 5 games to play and a top prize of $25,000, you can give them a chance to get what they really want.
A diamond necklace.
Happy holidays from New York Lottery.
Give Holiday Grab Bag, the new instant cash game from the New York Lottery, with 5 different tickets and a winner in every pack, and even a chance to win up to $25,000. Stick it on presents. Give it as a gift. Ask your lottery agent for it now.
Hey, we're back. 1310 a.m. Cable Channel 12. Taking your calls to Mary Michele. Call us here in the studio at 241-1310. We have our first caller on the line already, Mary Michele.
Great.
This is Francis. Hi, Francis.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm just fine.
I'll give you Francis's birthday, 1913, January 8th. What's your question for Mary Michele? You're young, Francis. Young at heart is the important thing.
Well, that's the main thing. I was just wondering for this old lady, what about the future? I mean, does it look good? Will I make any money? Will what?
Well, it's interesting you should ask about money. You have the sun in Capricorn, but you also have the moon in Capricorn. And I don't know if you've read some of the characteristics of Capricorn, but Capricorn is a sign that does tend to think about security and money and so on. And the moon in Capricorn will very much reinforce that. The moon is your unconscious, so it's not just your conscious self that thinks about money. You're also, there's a need for it, a nurturing need for it. But usually with the sign of Capricorn, it's a sign that that is able to deal with this. I mean, are you someone that has handled money throughout your life? Do you feel that you have a better...
Well, I've supported myself my entire life, if that's,
That's a lot. That's
went on relief or welfare, none of that baloney.
That's wonderful. I think that's really...
Yeah, I think so, too. I'm a good citizen.
Yeah, that's definitely true. You'll continue to be. Okay, it's not going to change. You have Mercury in Sagittarius, which is what I've been talking about today. Mercury is the planet of the mind. So this stuff about Jupiter and traveling in the mind's eye, or reading about distant places or philosophies or just different ideas and so on. Are you someone that's interested in that kind of thing?
Well, I'm interested in just about everything. I love people, love to be out and talk to people, walk all the time, and I find other people's lives interesting, and I try to help as much as I can, and like that. And then what about health? So far, it's been good.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with the health. You're going to have what we call the Uranus, the planet Uranus, which was discovered in the 1740s, which is the planet that rules things like television, telephones, radios. It's the higher communicator. Uranus is the highest, it's eventually they say we're going to be able to read each other's minds, telepathy. That doesn't mean that we will allow people to read what we don't want them to read.
Yeah.
But anyway, the planet Uranus is coming back in January, February of this year to the time where it was when you were born. It's an 84-year cycle. So it's a terribly important time for you. And what you will be doing then is you will be reviewing everything that's happened throughout your life, and you'll be thinking of new and probably very unusual ways to continue the things that you're already doing.
Well, I'm still working, if that's something.
That's a lot. This is amazing.
Well, anyway, thank you, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Very much.
Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Thanks for calling, Francis, out there in Mount Kisco. We have another caller on the line. I'm going to get him up here. Hamid, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Hamid's calling from New York City. He's listening to the radio, and his birthday's 1956, June 16th. What's your question for Mary Michele today?
Well, my question for Michelle is, I'm in the process of signing a contract with a different company that I never worked with before, and I just want to know if it's a good move, because that means also that I have to change countries. I have to move out of one country to another country.
Okay. Hamid, you have the sun in Gemini, as I'm sure you know. You have the moon in Libra, which is a very harmonious angle. You're able to integrate your unconscious and your conscious well. What this can translate as are your instincts. Now, air signs will have a lot of different perspectives on things and will always want to be looking at things from 16 different points of view because that's the nature of air. It wants to go in and around things and explore them. But when there's a harmonious angle between the sun and the moon like this, it means that even though perhaps you might initially embrace things that, because of your curiosity, it's pretty rapidly thereafter that you figure out exactly how you are going to work with the people and whether there's things that work well or not. You are able to sense, your intuition is very close to the surface, even though, air tends to make you spread out and go in many, many different directions. I would say that right now is a very good time to be negotiating this kind of a deal. I don't see it as something that's probably going to come to any clear fruition until maybe 6 months from now. But it's you're doing the right thing. All these planets in Sagittarius are trining the planet Uranus in your chart, which is in Leo, and Jupiter, which is in Leo, and all the air signs and so on. So you're having very, very clear creative ideas right now. And I think however it is that you choose to structure this deal, you're going to have a great deal of luck on your side.
But in other words, it's all positive.
I'm sorry?
In other words, it's all positive.
It's pretty positive, but the point is that if it's not going to happen for 6 months or so, there might be some frustrating moments.
I'm not expecting it before then, so then it's okay. 6 months is fine.
Yeah. But I think you should, if there are some frustrating moments, you have to keep it in mind that, usually when you're going to do a long-term kind of a deal, it just takes time. So time is a very important factor here. And don't get frustrated if things don't move too fast, because the nature of air signs is they want everything to happen very quickly.
I see.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mary Michele, and happy holidays to all of you.
Oh, thanks so much for calling.
Thank you, Hamid. Good luck with what's going on in your life. Busy, busy people. Okay, we have another call here on the line. Hello, Celeste. Are you there?
Yes.
Hi, I'm going to give you her birthday, Mary Michele. It's 1934, November 1st. What's your question for Celeste? She's calling from Mount Kisco.
My question is, I've been looking for employment for 6 months. Will I be able to get employment or some way to support myself? I have not been doing very well in a few years.
Okay. Well, you've had, with the sun in Scorpio, you've had the planet Pluto, which is the ruler of Scorpio, but it's kind of a tough planet. I mean, he doesn't make life easy for anyone. And you've had that going over your sun for probably the last 10 years. So, it's not been an easy time for you. Now, it's moved on. So you should already be feeling the ability to reach out. You should be feeling like it's easier for you to, call people, initiate things. Scorpio as a sign is a sign that is quite secretive. The sign of Scorpio is a sign that doesn't like to let the right hand know what the left hand is doing. And, when Pluto was going over the sign of Scorpio, it was enhancing that quality. So, and in many ways, this can be a very positive trait. This is not necessarily a negative thing. I mean, lots of times it's a good thing to not talk too much and let people know what you're thinking or feeling and so on. But now is a time that you can do that. You can really reach out. You have the moon in Leo, you have Mercury in Scorpio, Venus in Scorpio, Jupiter in Scorpio. You have a lot of planets in Scorpio. So it was really, Pluto was hitting a lot of things in your chart. Let's see, you have Mars in Virgo. Are you interested in health?
Yes. I am interested in health, and I am a caretaker at home. My husband is very ill.
Well, you're a very good caretaker, and you will continue to be one. Have you ever done it professionally?
No, I've always wanted to, but I wound up in business.
I'm sorry, you've always wanted to, but what?
I always wanted to, but I wound up working in the business world.
Well, I think that you ought to look into the healthcare business. Scorpio is a sign that senses people. And in health, I mean, we need it in any work that we do, but in healthcare, of course, I think it adds a little bit of an extra dimension to have a sense of what they're saying may not be what they're feeling. And I think that you could be very helpful. I mean, I know that in healthcare there is a lot of training that goes into it, and it might be intimidating to feel that you have to go back to school or something like that. But I think that there are also in healthcare facilities, particularly alternative healthcare facilities, people that they are very willing to give a chance to, whether they have the education or not. So I would try and do both. If you can get yourself a little more educated in that area. But I would also just go out and look for a job. I would go and, even if it's working in a drugstore for a while. Anything to do with the healthcare industry. Working with a massage person, working in an area of a health club where you're, sort of helping people to figure out how they feel and not just how to, fix their muscles. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay, well, I think you should try that.
Okay.
All right.
Good luck, Celeste. Have a happy holiday. We're going to take a quick break now.
Bye.
But we'll be right back taking your calls here. WVIP 1310 AM and cable channel 12. Stay with us. A lot more to come. Mary Michele taking your questions, and be right back after these messages. Has the holiday mall madness gotten to you yet? Still searching for that unique gift for the person that has everything? Then Blue Moon is the place for you. With truly the largest selection of Native American and Southwestern jewelry and crafts in the area, we invite you to come in and browse and sign our mailing list to keep you up to date on the various artists visiting our shop. On December 15th and 16th, Blue Moon once again welcomes renowned Aleut beadworker Mary Attu, whose work has been featured in Dances with Wolves. Blue Moon, a slice of Native America and the Southwest in Mount Kisco. Located at 37 Main Street, Mount Kisco. Call for extended holiday hours, 244-3566.
WVIP It's 4 a.m., you've got insomnia, and the only thing you can find to read is your car insurance bill. Suddenly you wonder, why am I paying so much? I need to talk to my agent immediately. Unfortunately, your agent's comatose at this hour, so you wait until the sun comes up, only to find that he's at a convention in Bora Bora, and the assistant who could help you just got his tie caught in the fax machine. There is a better way. Just call Geico. Our insurance professionals are ready to help anytime, before breakfast, after dinner, and in between snacks. That's the beauty of Geico's complete 24-hour service. And with one 15-minute call, you could cut your car insurance rates by 15% or more. We'll even give you a line-by-line comparison with your current policy so you can see the savings. Call Geico at 1-800-841-3000. Sure, you won't get any postcards from Bora Bora, but with the money you save, maybe you'll bump into your old agent on the beach. That's 1-800-841-3000. Geico, the sensible alternative.
Boy, oh boy, back again. You're here with us this morning with Mary Michele, taking your calls. If you have any questions about your astrological predictions for the coming weeks or the coming months, give us a call here at the studio, 241-1310. It's WVIP and cable channel 12 or 1310 AM on your AM dial. Mary Michele, I have a couple of questions for you. For the holiday season, is it typical that at this time of year, many of the planets do line up the way you're saying 7 planets are lined up?
Well, it is typical, of course, for the planets that are closer, that move in the same cycle as the Earth, to be, the moon will always be in the sign of Sagittarius at some point during the time that the sun is in the sign of Sagittarius. Mercury will always be there at some point, Venus. But, to have all of them, to have, let's see, the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Pluto all in the sign of Sagittarius at one time is a little unusual. Usually, 5. It can happen 5 planets or 6 planets, but 7 is a little more than
a little more than normal.
A little more than normal.
Okay, we have a caller on the line. Thank you for that. We're going to bring that caller up here. Hi, Mary. Are you there? Mary? Mary? Sorry about that. Mary, are you there? I seem to have not been able to bring up Mary.
Oh, well, never mind. She'll call back. I wanted to talk a little bit about the 4 signs, the 4 elements, and how we can relate to them, how you can relate to them very simply in the cards that you play with.
Okay.
So the suit of hearts in cards. Now, this also relates to the tarot pack. And it's a little hard to know which is older, whether the tarot pack is older or whether the regular playing cards that we use are older. But in any event, what both were about was numbers. Each suit has a certain amount of cards and their numbers printed on them. And also the symbolism that's attached to these different elements, whether it's hearts, which is water, spades, which is air, clubs, which is fire, and diamonds, which is pentacles. And these relate, again, to the 4 elements. Air is spades, which is also the swords in the tarot pack. In the earth is pentacles, is diamonds. Sorry about that. Then we have clubs, which is fire, and it's wands. And then we have, what's the 4th one? Hearts. I think I said that already. Hearts, which is cups, which is water. Anyway, as you can see, these symbols come up time and time again because they're the components that are in our natural surroundings all the time.
I'm going to interrupt you briefly because we have a caller calling from his car phone.
Okay.
And I'm afraid he's going to get out of range. This is Frank. Frank, are you there?
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, how are you?
His birthday is December 27th, 1930. Okay. What's your question for Mary Michele today, Frank?
Well, it's obviously the retirement time. I just wonder what she thinks about it.
Okay. I don't think anything's ever obvious, but if it's the time that you want to retire, I think that's a great thing. December 27th, 1930. Okay, you have the Sun in Capricorn. You have the Moon in Aries. Mercury in Capricorn. Do you have your own business?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that, you're a very cardinal kind of person. You're someone that likes to run your own show and have your own business. And I think